Hello YouTube and Saber Forum, this is Blade Cross EXE here with my buddies Chris and Tanner today, and we're going to be bringing you reviews of our Ultrasabers. Amongst us we have 7 in total. I'm going to be reviewing my Dark Prophecy, my 2 Dark Initiates, and I'm going to be giving a follow-up review of my Dark Catalyst I did a review on earlier. And you guys, what sabers do you have?
I'm going to be reviewing my, I completely forgot the name of my lightsaber.
The Liberator.
Liberator. That's what I thought, and then
You made a joke on it earlier.
Yeah, I did. That's what I thought, and then
Alright.
That's entirely my fault.
And Tanner, what about you?
I'll be reviewing the Dominic's V2.
Excellent. Alright, so, earlier, if you watched my video, you saw I did a customized version of my Dark Catalyst. I built a wood handguard for it, which this knucklehead broke.
Hey, that'll happen.
Yeah, it's okay. It was cheap wood. I didn't expect it to hold up anyway. And I had actually heard that the Catalyst was not very popular on the Saber forum amongst hardcore duelists, and after using it for a while, I can understand why. Though it looks pretty and it feels really nice with its choke point and everything, it only has one retention screw, and the socket's not very deep, so the blade doesn't absorb impacts as well as others. So I'm actually using a 32-inch blade now instead of the 36-inch, partially because I actually ended up breaking the tip of the blade off. And I don't just mean that I knocked the tip off, I mean it actually broke part of the saber. So the way I figured was that it doesn't absorb impacts as well, and I hit it like right on the tip, so that's why it broke.
Is that one that you can record sounds on, or are those the stock sounds?
That particular one I think was a stock sound, but I do have a custom sound font on this, which I'll be showing off later.
Okay.
Yeah, you saw the yellow blade is actually added in silver with a few color discs in there. So when it comes to dueling, I would actually recommend using rounded tips instead of pointed tips, though pointed tips do look nice for photo ops and cosplay and everything. But rounded tips are smaller targets, and from my experience, they seem to be attached more well to the blade, because this thing actually has a couple cracks running down it because we've abused it so much. And this is not even a heavy grade, as far as I know. This came with a RGB Dominic's I got a little while back. It was a free giveaway, and this thing's put up with a lot of abuse, and it hasn't even showed any signs of breaking yet. And with 2 of my other heavy grade blades with point tips, I've actually knocked the tip off. Put it right back on, simple, real simple fix. But still, if you're getting a saber just for dueling, I'd say opt for the rounded tip. All right, now on to my other sabers. Here are my 2 Dark Initiate V2 LEs. One thing I find funny about this is I only ordered the Dark Initiate V2s. They sent me the LEs. I don't know if that was a mistake in processing or if they just gave me these because they were out of the regular LEs at the time. But either way, I'm not complaining. They look pretty. Here's the regular stock Initiate blade. And that blade I broke from my Catalyst earlier, I actually cut down and made a little lightsaber dagger out of it. A little laser shift. You never see anybody with a lightsaber dagger. I'm actually going to try to incorporate that into my dueling style. So, very basic hilt. It's pretty much a tube with a couple grips here and there. It's got 2 retention screws, a nice deep blade socket so that it holds really well. And we're actually going to have a duel video going on later tonight, and I look forward to using this guy. I hadn't had a chance to yet.
So, earlier you were talking about how the pointed tips might look better, but they're not really as good for dueling. You have the pointed tips on these ones, so yeah. Would that be because you aren't expecting to take as many hits on it, or because you care more about your appearance on this particular saber? Actually,
for that one, it's because I had 2 pointed tips pre-ordered. It's before I came to the realization that the pointed tips were knocked off.
Tips are better.
Yes, I actually got the 2 pointed tips when I ordered my Dark Prophecy and my 2 Dark Initiates, because I'd already planned to build a couple saber daggers out of that broken blade, and only one of them ended up working. The other one I couldn't cut perfectly even because I don't know if you guys knew this, but the inside of the blade is actually stuffed with, honestly I really don't know what it is, but it's what gives it its the padding, lets it absorb shocks very well. The dagger blade does not have that. I had to take that out before I could cut it down. And if you look closely at it, like you can't see it from there, but if you look at it in person, you see like little white specks.
Yeah,
that's actually fragments of the blade when I was
force.
Yes, fragments of the force
of the in there
of the blade when I was power sanding it. And now, here's my personal dueling saber that I use now, my Dark Prophecy. And I found out something interesting about it yesterday. I didn't know this at the time, but this is actually based after Anakin's lightsaber from Star Wars Episode 2. At the time, I was under the impression that his Episode 2 and 3 sabers were the exact same model, even though I knew his saber in Episode 2 got destroyed. That, or I thought it was based after Darth Vader's lightsaber. I have the Force Action variant right here. Because, based on the way the emitter is shaped, and in Episode 2, I went back and watched it after finding this out, but you don't really get a good shot of Anakin's lightsaber up close in any of the scenes you see him in, until it gets chopped off, and then you just see it sparking out. So I thought it was just loosely based on the Graflex, which is what Ultrasabers calls Anakin's lightsaber, the one that Luke gets. I thought it was just loosely inspired by that, and I thought maybe he had the exact same design because in Episode 1, though Obi-Wan lost his lightsaber, he has the same one in Episode 2. So, I learned something new. It was actually a guy on the Saber forum that pointed that out to me. We were having a discussion about what do we want Ultrasabers to provide, some new things, and he said, what about Anakin's first lightsaber? And I was like, what do you mean first lightsaber? I thought he used the same one all the way through. So I went and Googled it, and I was like, holy crap, that's the prophecy.
Well, they have a lot of little things they changed about Anakin, like the scar that he gets over his eye that's completely unexplained.
Well, no, it's in the Clone Wars 2003 cartoon.
Was it now?
Yeah, we don't actually see him get the scar, it's just he comes home and then he has the scar across his face.
Okay, so it's still not... Does it ever refer to what...
No, we can only assume it's a battle scar. Like, we actually see him pull back his hood and reveal it to Padme. It doesn't explain how he got it, though. So, I got this to be my Sith saber, and at some point I plan to put some Mantis claws on the top once I can get myself a Mantis. They don't sell the claws individually, so I'll probably just buy for the claws and give the Mantis to someone else or something. Another thing I did was... Oh, sorry. I actually put a dark catalyst pommel on the bottom of the saber because I really like the way that looks. It's not perfectly flat like the Chosen one would be. I know this ain't an Ultra Saber, but it's the same design, pretty much. And I just like this, the way this is designed.
So you say it's your dueling saber. Why is that particular one your dueling saber? Is it just a better feel? Is it more secure? What?
Well, the reason this one's my dueling saber, it has 2 retention screws like the Initiates here, and it's got pretty much a similar grip feel to the Catalyst, but the blade is a lot more secure, and it can take a heavier hit.
Being your Sith saber, obviously.
Yes.
Red.
Yes. Got the blazing red LED and soundboard in here, and I actually recently got the sound font maker working, so I've got a couple custom sound fonts on here.
Such as?
That's Duel of the Fates. I didn't make that one.
Little Dragon Force.
Die by the Sword.
Oh no, I've never noticed you had that.
Yeah, the little window in there, it's comes standard on the Prophecy Sabers.
I like that.
Yeah. Another thing, this one actually has a 40-inch blade. I put this in my Prophecy after getting my Dominic's V2 RGB, and I bought that blade to put back in my Catalyst because I wanted a longer reach, but after putting the 40-inch blade in my Catalyst, it was very top-heavy and unwieldy. And it was then, when I was swinging it around, I felt it wobble a whole lot, and that's when I realized, okay, the single retention screw doesn't secure as well, and that's probably why it broke. It can't handle the shocks as well as the others. So I put the Prophecy blade in my RGB Dominic's, put the Dominic's blade in my Catalyst, and then put the 40-inch blade in my Prophecy. And I also got a custom sound on this thing as well. The sound font is actually a mixed match of a lot of the other ones that come standard, but one of the lockup sounds is original. Zero's intro theme from Mega Man X1. Yeah, one of my friends actually asked me if I could make him a Imperial March and Star Wars Overture theme for his lightsaber. I plan to do that at some point.
Just a real quick thing. If you were to, if you were deciding that you were going to make one that you just specifically wanted to change everything about it,
yes,
which one would you say would be your best one for doing that? For creating your own saber? What's probably the most versatile?
Of the ones that I've seen in person, I really can't say. You mean like customize just about everything about it?
The easiest to customize, yes. The one that would really give you the, not so much the widest amount of options, but the one that gives you the most options while still looking good and retaining the feel of the lightsaber.
Well, these are the only sabers I've ever actually held in person and actually seen in person. But I have browsed the catalog quite extensively, and not all of them have removable emitters. They all do have removable pommels, though. But given what I've seen, it seems that the Dark Initiate's V3, or just the Initiate V3 line, period, are pretty easy to customize, like with PVC. I saw this one guy make a really sick-looking Dark Initiate V3, and it had like kind of a bladed, like a split claw shroud going over the top, like kind of like this has a slant emitter. He built one of those out of PVC pipe, but it had a split in the middle. It was I think cloven is the term for it, and he had one of those on his Dark Initiate. And I've heard the shock is pretty popular for modifications as well.
So this one is
This
one of these things is not like the other.
Yeah. The Force Action Darth Vader lightsaber, got this a while back. I just brought it for comparing the style of the saber, really. So, like I said, I thought that the prophecy was originally just loosely inspired on Darth Vader's lightsaber, and I was actually wrong. It was inspired by Anakin's Episode 2 saber.
False.
Wait, wrong trilogy. Alright, so...
Well, as long as you stay away from...
Hey now. We've been over this before. Alright, that's pretty much all I have to say about mine. You've been pretty quiet, so why don't you say something?
I have the Dominic's V2 saber, and overall, it's my favorite saber of all that I've seen. It has 2 retention screws, which makes it very strong. It has broken a couple sabers.
Yes.
At multiple points.
Yes.
And it does have the capability to be a staff, which is very nice. It's got great handholds because you have a lot of grip room.
Okay, so what you're saying is that it has great handholds because it has no handholds.
Exactly. You can grip it anywhere on the saber and it's comfortable. The only thing I do not like about it is that it is a thinner saber than all of the others, so you cannot have customizable parts.
Yeah, and you said what's it called, the pike extension doesn't work with that, right?
Right. The pike extension doesn't work because it's a thinner handle.
Yeah. But this guy's really good with props, so he'll find a way. He'll make something.
I will make
it happen.
Now, would you care to review my RGB saber since you're on Dominic's?
I would say it's just about the same. The green is a little less vibrant than,
Yeah, that's
hue is a little
really
less saturated.
a common thing with all of the colors on it, though. It's not just the green.
It
gives you many options, and I really love the Arctic Blue. Arctic Blue is easily my favorite color on there.
The Violet Amethyst ends up being more magenta at the moment. It's actually, the non-sound sabers take 4 AAA batteries, and some of these haven't been changed in a while, so the colors may not be exactly perfect. And a lot of times RGB colors end up getting, even if you're just using one color, they're maybe slightly different from if you just have one LED in your saber. Especially if you compare the reds right here. You can see it's slightly different. Like this one is a bit of a deeper red, and this one is a little bit paler.
It doesn't have as much saturation.
Yes. Of course, it could be because the light's shining really bright on it, and this one's a shorter saber, so the light may reflect back closer, because the tips actually have a reflective bit at the very end.
I can tell.
Yeah, so it could be that
Rudolphin effect going on there.
So it could be just because it is less distance to go, and it bounces back and makes it twice as bright. Alright, now this beauty right here.
My saber in particular, I'm a bit of a bigger guy. I have bigger hands, so I need a... Tanner's saber is really good. I really do like it, but I can't get a proper grip on it. The only things negative that I have to say about my saber is that whenever I first started using it, there's no real grip to it because it's the steel version. And so whenever I would swing it, I'd have it kind of slide around, but once you get used to that, that's no longer a problem. I really love right here, just the design of the hilt itself is just really pretty to me.
Very basic.
This color, I will say, I really love this color in the dark, but whenever you have it inside under lighting, it doesn't show up very well.
And like we said, the batteries need to be changed.
Well, see, the thing is that I recently changed these batteries, quite recently actually.
get my orange RGB in here.
I don't know why that is. It shows up really well when it's dark. It is really
it
pretty.
does.
But whenever it's
especially if you put it in sunlight, like ultraviolet light just takes all the light right out of your sabers. Yeah, like yeah. Tanner's gonna kill the lights real quick. Let's get a little light show going in here. This camera's not great for recording lightsaber colors, and I made sure the night vision is turned off. Yeah, let's just play the lightsabers in the middle of the video. Evil Yoda! In all seriousness, though.
Now, the other negative thing that I have to say about it is I only have the one retention screw, and that did concern me a little bit at first. But upon taking out the blade, I realized that it actually sets much further down into the hilt than is the norm, and so I'm not really all that worried about it breaking. I have dueled with it on several occasions, and there have been some pretty hard hits, especially with Caleb here.
Yeah.
There have on both ends of that,
Yes.
But it's held up. I think the most damage it's taken is whenever I ran into a fence with it. So.
And I don't even see the effects from that. Yeah, let me see what you're saying. So both of them have one retention screw, but comparing the Liberator to the Catalyst, like you said, the blade sits down a lot lower, so it can absorb shocks a lot better, and the Catalyst not gonna hold up in a duel quite as well. Like with this blade, it's held up pretty decently because it's shorter and rounded tip. So this is actually, if you're gonna duel with a Catalyst, I recommend a 32-inch or shorter blade and rounded tip, unless you want to break it. But
I have strongly considered, there's where I have these little holes, I have strongly considered putting a little screw through one of those.
that may actually be possible. Is it about the same size? Yeah, that appears to be pretty close to the same size. You get one that's just slightly longer and just boom boom.
Yeah. See, just to be clear, where the little holes are right there is where I'm talking about.
Yeah,
I've got where the retention screw is right here.
Yeah,
So if I were to put another there,
light up so they can see, if they can see from that far.
Yeah. So if I were to put another in one of these two holes here, it wouldn't look ridiculous. It would just look as though it's supposed to belong there, and it would certainly increase the strength and the stability of my saber.
That is actually a really good idea, especially if you want to opt for a longer blade like the 40-inch right there.
I agree.
Alright, is there anything else we need to cover, or is that it?
I don't think so. I think that's everything.
Alright. Well, this has been our reviews of our 7 Ultrasabers. Dark Prophecy, 2 Dominix V2s, 1 RGB, 2 Dark Initiate V2 LEs, 1 Dark Catalyst, and 1 Liberator. Oh, by the way, you said the steel version earlier. The Dark Liberator looks exactly the same. The only thing that's different is it's black with silver highlights, but as far as the feel of the saber goes, as far as I know, it's the exact same thing.
Okay.
So it wouldn't have made a difference if it was a dark version or not.
Okay, I wasn't sure if it would be... This has very much... I don't know why, but that to me feels different than this. Like, feel it. It's much... It's much...
Oh, okay. Yes, he's saying that the texture is different.
Yes.
Because the way that the black anodized feels different than the silver anodized. I actually didn't notice that until just now. I don't have a silver saber. All mine are dark.
I'm not saying from an actual material standpoint.
Okay.
I'm saying from a feel.
Okay. So
there's a difference.
Yeah, based on how slick it is. Yeah. I see what you're saying now. Okay. That makes more sense. Yes.
And it's really nice that really the difference is that this is a little bit slicker than my saber.
Yes.
And I appreciate the extra bit of grip on there since there is no real texturing to the blade. There is no ridges in the blade.
You mean the hilt?
Yes. That is exactly what I mean, but I for some reason said the wrong thing both times. It's because I was so concerned with not saying the word ridging.
Ridging?
Because I don't even know if that's a word. I was so concerned with not saying that word that I was saying blade instead of hilt.
Yes. And that's the other initiate blade right there. Yeah. So, I'm actually jealous of him because my sister bought him this saber for Christmas as a grab bag. Woo. And it turns out, for those of you who watch...
awesome.
For those of you who watch Sword Art Online 2, you may be familiar with Kirito's Photon Sword. Me and Tanner have been wanting to build a customized Ultra Saber. No one cares about grammar. So we've actually been wanting to build a Photon Sword Ultra Saber, and we decided this would be the perfect base for it, albeit the dark version. But still, we talked about it, and it turns out he got this in a grab bag, but we're not going to steal his customized because, one, it's his, two, wrong blade color. But still, it's, I'm kind of jealous about that.
I don't think it was luck. I think it was fate. I think the Force willed me to have this particular saber.
It also willed his laser shift to go into your side. Apparently not, because he blocked me. Alright, so this has been Blade Cross EXE, now part of Flashing Blade Productions. Thank you for watching, and check out my other videos. Click a link to the annotation right here to see my Dark Catalyst review, and an annotation right here to watch some of our lightsaber duels that we've done. And I will see you in the next video.